Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
My mother is more attached to her junk than her kids.
Her family calls her a hoarder.
I don't believe I'm a hoarder.
32 bags of newspapers, 300 unusable socks.
I don't know. Did somebody come count them? This room is the kitchen. I'm not really compelled to put anything away. I look through the trash to make sure that things were rescued that needed to be rescued.
If this doesn't rise to the level of hoarding, what do you think would?
Will she choose her kids?
They tried to do this intervention. My house is 3 times worse right now than it was before. I don't know what to do.
Or her clutter?
Oh my God. These are things that you've saved.
You just never know when you might need a wheel.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life. Okay, from the outside, this spacious, nearly 9,000 square foot Victorian home with its tree-lined brick pathways and perfectly manicured lawn looks like an ideal place to raise a large family. But do we really know what goes on behind closed doors? This is the inside. It is so full of clutter that my guest Pamela had to create pathways so she could navigate through her house. Pamela's kids came to the show today because they say they are sick and tired of their mother choosing what they call junk over them. Now, there's 2 sides to every story, and Pamela is adamant that she is not a hoarder despite the shape of her home. Now, if Pamela is unwilling to accept help, her kids say they are prepared to walk away from their mother once and for all. Take a look.
Pam has collected so much stuff over years that the house is completely full.
I'm storing some stuffed animals here that we've had for a long time.
There's no place to sit down. There's no place to eat.
My definition of a hoarder is someone that doesn't do anything around their house. They don't take out their trash. They don't throw anything at all away, like candy wrappers. I don't believe I'm a hoarder.
I have a basket collection on the ceiling. We unfortunately had a squirrel get in the house. He knocked my baskets off of the ceiling.
My mother is a horrible, horrible hoarder.
My mother used to go through every garbage can and sort and make sure there was nothing in the garbage that she didn't want thrown away.
Sometimes we had to sneak the trash out to school or to the YMCA to throw it away.
I would just look through the trash to make sure that things were rescued that needed to be rescued.
When I asked her if I could have a garage sale, she basically just freaked out on me, was yelling and screaming, and chose the stuff over my feelings.
This little rocker is hard for me to get rid of.
We have 30 to 40 umbrella strollers. She has a fascination with car seats. She loves little plastic toys.
Kind of makes me sad to let the dollhouse go.
I'm artistic, and so someone else will see trash, and I see potential.
This is a little birdhouse that I painted.
The lifestyle that Pam is in is unhealthy and unsafe. No one should be living in that kind of environment. And certainly, dentistry should not be practiced in that sort of environment.
Hi, Linda. Come on back and we'll get your teeth cleaned up.
Oh, great.
My mother does run her dental office out of her home, even though it's a health hazard.
Gums look really happy, Linda.
My patients have understood for the last 20 years that I'm in the middle of projects.
Every time we want to go visit her, there's no place for us to stay. My mother is more attached to her junk than her kids.
Well, Pamela's family was so desperate to get help for their mother that they took matters into their own hands. But it spiraled way, way out of control.
In August 2012, there was a family intervention to try to force Pam to receive care.
It was an assassination. The bullies all ganged up on me all at the same time.
Before we were able to do the intervention, my mother figured out what we were planning to do.
She lost her mind and freaked out, went ballistic. She drove down to my cousin's house. She got out of the car screaming and yelling.
I felt like I was being hunted. I flipped them off.
She was sticking up her middle finger and saying, you, I hate you all. I don't need you. I need Dr. Phil. He's the only one that can help me.
My mother was acting like a distraught maniac. I felt obligated to call 911.
The state police took me into the hospital and they stripped everything off of me and they handcuffed my feet and my hands to the bed. And then my daughter Charity came in and shook me and told me I needed to get help. And then my son started yelling at me, telling me that I was functionally crazy. And then my daughter, Chandra, started in, telling me what a worthless mother I was. And then Chandra's husband, Robert, chimed in. I was never going to be his baby's grandmother as long as I live. And there stood Richard, paranoid and delusional, and he was like so proud this had all happened. And then he said to me, I don't care if I ever see you again, I can't stand you. And he slammed the door. And there I was by myself. I feel like my family ganged up on me like a pack of wolves, and they just tore me to shreds and then left me to die.
Well, Pamela hasn't seen her daughter Chandra since the intervention almost 2 years ago. Now, joining Chandra is her father Richard, her older brother Perry, her younger sister Charity, and her younger brother Preston. Let's just dive into this, Pamela. How do you feel about being here right now?
I feel sad. I don't know how we got to this point. I feel very misunderstood. I'm desperate. Not one of these people really ever helped me around the house. They never really were supportive, and it slowly got out of control.
Okay, well, let me jump in at this point. Now, what do you think my goal is today? What do you think you're going to get from me today?
Well, Dr. Phil, I feel like our family's broken. I feel like we're like broken glass on the floor. I feel like that everybody's pointing their fingers at me. I'm the problem.
What do you think? What do you want from me today? What do you think is going to happen with me today?
I need you to come up with, why is our family broken? I don't think it's just me.
Do you think I know what I'm doing?
Yes.
Even though you may not agree with everything I have to say today, you're on record starting out saying that you think I know what I'm doing. So you can't change that later.
Okay.
And you don't think you needed an intervention because you don't think you're a hoarder.
No.
And it's not even a close call with you.
No.
Do you have a lot of socks? Do you have 300 unusable socks?
I don't know. Did somebody come count them?
And later, these are things that you've saved. This is a pet rock.
Here's my bracelet that I made. One that's a fork, and I have one that's a spoon.
You just never know when you might need a wheel.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I'm going to be a bride.
She's ready for her wedding.
Donnie asked me over the phone to marry him. I never met him in person.
You sent him a lot of money. These love letters, he plagiarized them.
Well, I did the same thing to him.
Yeah, but he didn't send you $50,000, did he?
Is this a love scam?
You tell me not to text him anymore.
Can we try to call him? Donnie, this is Dr. Phil.
Tomorrow. Then on Monday. Controlling husband?
Do you have to give her permission to shower?
No.
You be the judge.
He's called me dumb, stupid, ugly.
I have exhausted the humble, delicate approach.
That's Monday.
Let's take a look at some of the footage here. This is not what my den and living room look like. And tell me, if you were walking through someone else's house, if this is not evidence of hoarding, tell me what would be.
Well, I don't believe I'm a hoarder. I sell.
No, I ask you at what point you believe If this isn't hoarding, what would be? What would you have to walk into and see in order for you to say, that person's a hoarder?
People that don't take out their trash, they would have paper cups and candy wrappers and junk all over the floors. And I mean, really trash. I take out my trash. I take out my recycling. I take out my compost. I don't have cat feces all over. I do have a cat. I have cat hair all over. But I don't have dead cats underneath stuff. Really, I had someone... I know you guys think this is funny, but you haven't lived my life for the last 30 years. It's been really hard.
Well, no, talk to me, not them, and they're entitled to their reaction, whether you like it or whether you don't. But you didn't come here to see them, you came here to see me.
Right.
And I think you and I are having an intelligent discussion, and I'm the least judgmental person you'll ever meet, so I promise you. So I'm just trying to find out so we can see what it is we agree on and what we disagree on, because we may not even disagree. So I'm just trying to figure out what you think hoarding is. And so far you've said they wouldn't take out their trash. There would be like wrappers and dead cats and stuff like that. So that's your level of hoarding. If someone had so much stuff, whatever it was, in their house that they had to make pathways and not use rooms for what they were designed for, because they were full of stuff, would that be hoarding?
It depends. I mean, you might say that I don't use my...
I'm not talking about you.
It would depend. It would depend on what they had. I mean, I would have to evaluate the situation and what they had and whether there was any order at all or whether it was clean. After my kids did all this stuff to me, I had a lady come and help me start cleaning the house. We spent hours together. Her name was Christina.
Is it possible?
And she said, this is the cleanest, dirty mess I've ever seen.
You have 32 bags of newspapers in your house.
No, I don't.
How many do you have?
I don't know, but I don't have 32 bags.
There were 32 bags of newspapers that I believe were taken out of the house.
Preston?
Dr. Phil, I'm not privy to the precise number of bags of newspapers we have, but I do recall, as a teenager, my parents at one point paid one of my friend's grandparents to keep newspapers in their garage.
I was hoping the next stop would be the recycling center.
Right.
But Pam wanted to make sure they stayed safe in the garage.
Okay. So...
Can I tell you something?
No. Wait, let me ask you, because, see, the way this is going to work, you're going to have to let me guide us through this.
Okay.
So let's use that as an example. Chandra says, and Preston confirms, and Richard confirms, that whether it was 32 or 31 or 34, that there were dozens of bags of newspaper. And he took them out of the house. And you wanted to make sure they stayed safe. So instead of going to the recycle bin or going to the recycle center, they went to someone's garage, so you knew they would be safe, right?
I wouldn't say that's how the story goes. I wanted to look through the newspapers so I could get my kids' swimming articles out of them. That's all I wanted.
Okay, you had 32 bags of them. And does that seem reasonable?
My whole life is unreasonable. It's been unreasonable for so long, I don't know what to do.
Okay, I get that. I get that.
I want you to know that I have 12 file drawers in the basement full of his papers. He has every paper he ever had from college in our basement. Okay. This is my fault? I mean...
Okay, hold on. Preston, what do you want to say?
This is kind of an argument that we've been dealing with for a while, is that so you'll have an entire room that's just full of stuff that's not yours, right? And then you'll make a comment about how the room is full of junk, right? And then Mom will point to the one thing in the room that's actually yours and say, well, that's not mine.
Right.
You know, and that becomes the defense for keeping stuff. And so.
Do you have a lot of socks? Do you have 300 unusable socks?
I don't know. Did somebody come count them when I was gone? You know?
I think so.
Who counted them? I would just like to know. You know?
I don't know. Do you have a lot of cut-up socks? Because you were going to actually make a sock quilt out of them, right?
I was going to, and I do stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it. Listen, I'm not...
And for anybody that sees this show, if I've ever given you anything, please write Dr. Phil and tell him that I have made you towels with your names on them. And I've done all kinds of things and made things, and I don't have any of them because I give them to everybody else because I'm a kind, giving person.
Okay. All right, let's take a break. Up next, Pamela is going to take us on a house tour. I want to see what's really going on in the home and what she sees when she looks in every room. We'll take a house tour with Pamela after the break.
This room is the kitchen. I'm not really compelled to put anything away. This was my son's room, and he painted these 2 pictures. I can't let them go because that's kind of like having Perry here. My daughter's dolls from when she was little. I spent all my time with my kids, and now they're gone.
Coming next week.
Did she go 3 days without a shower because you wouldn't permit it?
No, because she chose to.
She claims her marriage is like a prison.
Have you called her stupid, ugly?
Well, I'm trying to motivate you.
This is motivational?
An alcoholic mom.
You drink about a gallon of vodka a day?
Destroying her family.
I drove with my son. I was drunk.
You lost custody of your son. You have access to him supervised.
Legally, I don't have to be supervised.
Trust me, that changes today.
Next week.
My kids have called me a bunch of nasty names. Bag lady, crazy, delusional, psycho. I think the main one is hoarder. So I said to them, how would you like it if I called you fat? How would that make you feel? Because I feel like I'm just continually attacked.
And I can't imagine what I've done in my life or haven't done to deserve what's happened to me. I just don't understand.
So, is Pamela a hoarder? Let's take a look at what's inside her house.
I live here by myself, so I know exactly how to get around. I do it in the dark. This room is the kitchen. I'm not really compelled to put anything away because I don't use it for a kitchen. This is the stuff I've kind of been working on, and one of my neighbors dropped the cat cage back off, so the cat cage is sitting there. I haven't gotten it to the garage. I tried to make you some more space. This is a room where I keep things that I'm willing to sell to people. This was my son's room, and he painted these 2 pictures, so I can't let them go because that's kind of like having Perry here. This is my daughter's room. My daughter's dolls from when she was little are sitting on her dresser. I spent all my time with my kids. We did all kinds of stuff together. We had a lot of fun. And now they're gone.
Okay, so that was a tour of the house. Thank you for that, by the way. As you look at it on video, how does it appear to you?
I know it looks bad. I'm smart enough to know I got a problem and it looks bad.
What is the problem?
Do you have a tissue?
Sure. I keep one in my pocket.
Oh, no.
And you may have that.
Oh, no. No, I can't take this home because it'll be one more thing.
So what, you think that, you said, I know I have a problem, but what do you think it is?
I think I'm overwhelmed.
Okay.
I'm lonely.
I agree and I agree, so I'm 2 for 2 with you.
I'm economically destitute.
Okay, so you're broke. Anything else?
I have a husband that lives down the street that tortures me emotionally. He's lied to me for years.
So you have relationship problems. Now, I asked Pamela to go in any room of the house and bring some of the items that were lying around. Come over here with me so you can tell me, because I want to see where you place your values. Now, come around here.
You don't need to wear gloves. It's
Well,
all clean.
no, it's just a
Except for the cat hair on the shirts.
Yeah, well, I don't often get a chance to put on gloves. So I'm putting on my gloves. Because I don't know
I
what...
wear those every day.
These are things that you've saved.
No, I want you to know that this young man right here...
This is a pet rock.
This young man right here made pet rocks. I have pet rocks all over the house. That's clean.
What the hell is it?
This is going to be a pillow cover.
Is what?
I'm going to cut the top off of this and use the bottom part to make a nice little pillow for my bed. That's the plan. Now, I want you to know, okay, I'm really more intelligent than I look. This here is aluminum foil, and it works great for cleaning wood and cleaning metal before you paint it.
Oh, my God.
Have you seen in this before?
No.
Oh. Well, this was just a jar that was happening to hang around the kitchen. It's a peanut butter jar, and I like to paint glass. So I thought I might paint that jar.
What are these?
Okay. I have been saving these for a long time. These are tags off of clothes and stuff, and I would like to make a collage and sew it. I want to design them into a wall hanging.
I understand. What the hell is this?
This is part of a little duck, and I actually thought I might make this little duck for Chandra's baby. You just never know when you might need a wheel. I repair things, and I have a collection of wheels, okay? I have a bunch of wheels on the kitchen table. It's like my workbench.
So...
Now, these are great for cleaning everything. Never throw your toothbrush away.
That's what I was looking for. What?
Well, you know, I have collected a bunch of those. I thought maybe some elementary school could use them for some kind of craft for the kids, or maybe I would come up with some idea. And these ties, I'm planning on... Now, this is my rag rug. I'm going to make a rug out of these. Okay? These ties make beautiful quilts and beautiful pillows if you sew them together. And I have yarn.
What the hell am I? What is...
And the...
All right, now give me this.
Just give me a minute. The rest of it's in here.
There's another one of these?
Oh, it's a spoon.
Oh, what do you do with these?
Well, I took a class at a local art museum, or an art place.
Yeah.
And we were taking old silverware, and we were reconstructing them into bracelets and, what do you call them, chimes that hang from outside. And I actually have a bracelet in here. Here it is. Here's my bracelet that I made. I have one that's a fork. Here's my fork bracelet. And I have one that's a spoon.
This is like one of those clown cars, so it just keeps getting bigger the more we reach in. I got a feel for what this is what you brought.
This is what I brought.
All
this
right.
is what was laying in my room.
Let's go back.
Let me
over
just
here.
put my one thing together here.
Take your time.
Okay.
Okay, now.
I have material.
Okay. Now, that was what you chose to bring, and it's a good sampling of what was in your kitchen. All right, up next. Is Pamela's family out to get her? She says her husband secretly recorded her during arguments, but Richard says he had to record his wife's out-of-control outbursts to prove that he, in fact, was in danger. We'll be right back.
When I get upset, Richard thinks that I'm gonna hurt him.
I'm so tired of being used! Help me!
Pam has made me feel frightened for my life.
I definitely believe that Richard and the kids use me as a scapegoat. Richard keeps tubs full of old telephones. I have Chandra's car sitting in the driveway, and when I tried to sell it, she said, oh, no, no. Perry built model ships out of popsicle sticks and cardboard and paint, and his leftovers are in boxes. And Preston has a dirt collection in the closet. The house is a total mess, and Richard and all of the kids are equally to blame.
Well, that was Pamela, who says she is sick of being blamed for the condition of her house. She says even if she cleaned her nearly 9,000 square foot home, it wouldn't solve any of the problems that their family has. She says her estranged husband, Richard, is equally to blame for the family's demise. Take a look.
There should be a lot more blame toward Richard for the failure of our marriage and our family than the children are giving it. During my marriage to Richard, sex has been the only priority to him. He used to want to spend Mondays with me. He called it his Monday parties to have sex with me. And while I was spending time with him, he was beating me up because the house was a mess. Well, it was the only day of the week I had to do what I needed to do. When my children were young, I was working 10-hour days. I didn't even take a lunch hour. And then I would make dinner and try to deliver kids here or there or the other place. The house was getting progressively more messy, and I had a meeting with the kids. And I asked them if they could keep things picked up. And my husband said, oh no, that's your responsibility, not theirs. I was just working so hard, and I couldn't get it all done. I would just be absolutely exhausted. And of course, my husband would complain because our sex life sucked. So Richard posted an ad in the newspaper looking for women. He actually had an affair with a woman. Then he had Facebook affairs with women. I don't believe for 1 minute that Richard left me because the house was messy. I believe Richard left me so that he could see other women.
And how long ago did you move out of the house?
July 29th of 2012.
And you did this intervention when?
August of 2012.
They just did awful things to me and left me. They didn't tell me I didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
I just knew the day before it happened, I was saying goodbye to my sister-in-law who had committed suicide, and that was really traumatic to me. And I needed that time to do that, and I was hoping to spend some time with my kids.
And so they come, and then it turns into an attack on you, in your opinion. They said horrible things to you.
They said the most horrible things to me that anybody could ever say. You wouldn't say them to a stranger.
The whole purpose of the intervention was to address my mom and her attacks on us because she wanted us to get in between their marriage, and was to also address the house. It was not to say, this is all your fault. You did this. You have to fix it. It was merely to say, let us help you. Let us help find a solution to all of this stuff. And we didn't even get to that point. And then it was a disaster from there on out. So what she's referring to is what happened after we had tried to just bring up this plan and say, hey, can we help you?
Did it melt down into anger and name-calling?
Yes, it did.
I mean, it deteriorated, right?
Very fast.
So it just didn't work out. All right, now Pamela believes that Richard wanted her out of his life so badly that he needed proof that she was crazy. She says he began provoking her and then secretly recording her. Richard says, look, I did that because he says he feared for his life. Take a look.
There have been times when Pam has made me feel frightened for my life.
I have a helpline. I have a person I can call.
Will you go call your helpline?
I do not.
Stop attacking me.
When I get upset, Richard thinks that I'm gonna hurt him. Richard's the one that stirs up the mud, and then when he gets dirty, he doesn't like it.
You have a problem.
Yeah, I have you. I have you who are undermining me and treating me like
Richard had a period of time when he put a tape recorder in his pocket. He would harass me until I just couldn't take it anymore. It was like having a 3-year-old kid that asked for a cookie the 110th time.
I'm so tired of being used! Help me, God! I didn't do anything to you!
This is very dangerous.
Just leave me alone!
I did use some of those recordings to obtain my order of protection. I was scared.
When you guys went to do the intervention, you wanted something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Perry, what did you want?
We wanted to help clean out the house so that it was safe and sanitary again, and so that our mom didn't have to live the way that she'd been living.
Okay, and you don't live there.
No,
so why was this your job?
basically, I felt like we were letting her down by allowing her to live the way that she was living.
So you felt like you were letting her down?
Yes.
Uh-huh. What did you want?
Out of the intervention?
Yes.
Basically, it was proactive crisis management. It was like preventive crisis management, right? The idea was we're all in one place at one time. We need to try to deal with this problem before it becomes, you know, the health department coming to the house and saying that it's condemned. We were just hoping that we could come up with an arrangement to clean the house out and just make it ready for, you know, my mom talks about being economically destitute, right? Well, you know, your house is the greatest asset you own. And when you are filling the house with stuff, it's degrading that asset. So that's
It's my warehouse, okay?
Yeah, okay. But your point was you wanted to help her.
Yes.
And the gold standard outcome, the home run for you guys would have been if she said, all right, back up some trucks, let's clean her out, and, you know, paint, fresh carpet, and we'll start from scratch. That would have been the home run, right?
Yes.
Okay, that was not going to happen. Okay. All right, coming up, Pamela says an incident over 20 years ago pushed her over the edge and was the reason she began to collect. We won't believe who Pamela says started this entire mess. When we come back.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I'm going to be a bride.
Did she marry a catfish?
I never met him in person.
Over the phone?
Joy, can we try to call him? Donnie, this is Dr. Phil.
That's tomorrow.
My mother has a lot of moldy food in the refrigerator. She has some oatmeal and food that actually probably expired in the 90s.
On several occasions, I've seen her eat moldy food.
I also have some potatoes that are growing, and these are kind of fun.
It terrifies me. If my mom doesn't get any help, I would be really concerned that she would die in that house because of what she's eating or because she would fall, and then we would never find her.
All right, Pamela's family is worried her hoarding is making her sick. Now, Pamela admits that her nearly 9,000 square foot house is disorganized, but says it was actually cleaning the house years ago that started this entire mess. Take a look at this.
Back in 1991, Pam was hospitalized. She had to live away from the house for about a month.
I had a nervous breakdown from just being overwhelmed. The people from my church were supposed to come over and help me take care of my children. And they went through all my drawers. They packed up things and took them up to the attic.
They actually took a lot of our clothes and organized them in bins. So they weren't actually getting rid of anything.
Well, why are these women going through my underwear drawers? I just couldn't get over the fact that they had violated my privacy.
She was so upset that they had helped her that that was the end of it. After that, nothing was leaving the house at all.
I felt like that I had been raped.
Tell you what, Dr. Phil, this house is 3 times worse now than before they did this to me. Okay, I feel safe in my house.
Before they did what to you?
Before they tried to do this intervention. My house is 3 times worse right now than it was before. I feel safe in my house because before if somebody broke into my house, I would hear them before they found me.
No, that's true. But would you agree that's no way to live? To have to live that way? In fear and...
I don't think that the last 30 years of my life is any way to live.
But you have so much opportunity to change the future, Mom. You have so much opportunity. We're not asking you to change the past.
I mean,
we want you to move forward.
They
move
did
forward
this
with us.
so-called intervention on me, and they all walked away from me. I had no one to talk to. I had no counselor. I had no one.
Is it possible that you're seeing ulterior motives in what people that love you attempt to do because it scares you to change?
No.
I think two things. Number one, I think that you have some psychological issues, and you've been very forthcoming about that. You said you feel overwhelmed and stressed. You said you had a nervous breakdown. I think you have some psychological issues that have to do with anxiety and depression. Would you agree with that?
I would say I probably do.
Okay, so that would be a yes.
Yes.
Okay. I also think there are some family issues here. You're what's called the target patient. You're the squeaky wheel. You're the one that's behaving in a way that makes the most measurable noise, so all the focus is on you. But it's not all about you. It's about this whole family unit, because everyone's a product of their environment and their learning history. So it isn't just all about you, but right now you seem to be the one that is acutely in distress. Out of everyone here, you seem to be experiencing the most pain.
I say a prayer every night. God, please just take me to heaven. I don't want to make up tomorrow because I can't do this anymore.
So you're overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed, and then
Okay.
I'm mad at God when I wake up the next morning because I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go.
We can agree that you're experiencing anxiety and depression, an acute amount of pain right now, and that there are family issues involved here as well. But because you're in acute pain, can we agree with one more thing? You're in the healthcare profession. You deal with psychological problems psychologically. You deal with medical problems medically. And I think that you're dealing with psychological problems with non-psychological solutions. I want to take a break. I'm going to come back and tell you what I think that is and tell you what we can do instead. And I think you're actually going to be very happy. I think. I hope. We'll be right back. Struggling through tough times? Visit drphil.com for 11 seasons of advice on parenting, relationships, finances, and more. Plus, you can share your stories and find support in the Dr. Phil community. If you want more, you have to require more from yourself. So log on to drphil.com and get started today.
I didn't know I had a brain injury until about 3 or 4 years ago. The brain injury happened when I was 16. I was at a county fair and I got kicked in the head by a cow. I don't believe my brain injury has anything to do with the fact that I like to collect things and fix them. And I have lots of things laying around that need a little paint. But it's something that Richard has used to make me look bad to my kids and to turn them against me.
My dad uses my mother's traumatic brain injury as an excuse. When I bring up something, well, she got kicked in the head by a cow when she was 16. My dad uses the brain injury as a cop-out.
Okay, Pamela's kids say their dad blames an accident 40 years ago on their mom's current problems. And I'm not even going to ask you if you do or you don't, because it really doesn't matter, because that was then and this is now. Sometimes when people are experiencing a feeling of being overwhelmed, when they're experiencing particularly anxiety, they get the feeling that if they can control something in their external world, that gives them a sense of peace for just even a moment inside. Is it possible that you have developed this habit as a way of trying to control your anxiety, depression, and overwhelming feelings of stress? Is that even remotely possible, even 1% possible?
It might be at this point, but when my kids were little,
Okay, listen.
I've done this since they were little.
I understand. I've been listening for a long time. Things often start for one reason and then continue for another. And all I'm asking you to do, I'm not asking you to go home and throw away one part sock. I'm not asking you to go home and throw away one newspaper, but I'm going to ask you to do this. Let me arrange as our gift to you to have a careful and thorough evaluation of you done mentally, emotionally, physically, hormonally, neurologically, every possible way. Because I think this, I think if you let me give you some new skills for handling your anxiety, your depression, and your overwhelming feeling of stress, you won't need all of that stuff. I just want to calm all of that down, and then we'll talk about the stuff. I don't want to talk about the stuff right now. I don't want to take your stuff away from you.
Would you examine his brain, too?
Well, I might. But right now, I'm being selfish on your behalf. Right now.
Because you can't have a brain, and you can't have a brain like him and hurt your wife like he's hurt me.
Okay, look, just for argument's sake, let's just decide he's a complete okay?
Thank you so much. I've been waiting my whole life for that.
I said just for argument's sake. But right now, I'm just wanting to be selfish in your behalf. Let me help you, because I think in a very short period of time, your life is going to look a good deal better to you. But I think to do that, we got to get the blood to stop rushing in your ears. We got to get the anxiety storm to stop. We got to get the depression to lift. And that's what I want to help you with. Will you accept that gift from me? I don't want anything in return. I don't want you to do anything with them. Don't you do anything with him. Just let me do this. And it's not like I'm ignoring all the family issues. You're the one that's in acute pain. Let me address that first for you. Okay? And then you and I are in this together. Will you do that? I want to send you to the P&P Center in Dallas, Texas to find out what's going on, and we're going to start neurologically. And I think the world's going to look a whole lot better. Can y'all be supportive of this? Okay? All right. We'll be right back. Stop justifying your inactivity and avoiding the challenge of change. For help getting started, go to drphil.com for 11 seasons of advice, articles, and exclusive videos you won't find anywhere else. Plus, sign up for the Dr. Phil community to share your story and find support from others. All on drphil.com. Well, I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Lisa DeVoe, president and founder of Completely Organized. Lisa is a certified professional organizer who offers on-site consulting with her team of professionals. She teaches clients proven methods of organization and develops customized solutions for organization to reduce stress and increase productivity. Lisa has graciously offered her services to Pamela to clean out her house. I also want to thank our medical team at Doctor On Demand for assisting some of my team in preparation for the show. And if you at home want your own Doctor On Demand, then you can just go to Google Play or the App Store and download the Doctor On Demand app. It's something that Jay and I have worked on for a couple of years. We're really proud of it. We'll see you next time. Thanks.